just heard was a melody from Antonin Dvorak's Ninth Symphony, which he titled From a New World. So today I would just like to show you a little bit about who Dvorak was and why he wrote such a prolific symphony. Dvorak was born in 1841. He died in 1904. And his parents were innkeepers, and they didn't have very much money. Dvorak grew up in a country called Bohemia, which is now modern-day Czechoslovakia. Although Dvorak was so talented as a kid in music, his father really didn't want him to become a musician. Nevertheless, Dvorak knew that God had called him to be a musician. So when he was 16 years old, he went to a conservatory to study organ. There he learned so many things about music and all the things you need to know to become a really great musician. He then became a music teacher at a school, and there he shared with students his love for music. Dvorak had such a love for God. He knew that the only way that he was writing these pieces and able to think of all these beautiful melodies was because God gave it to him. Before he would start each piece, he would write at the top of his manuscript, "with God," because he knew that the only way he would be able to write what he needed to write was with the help of God. Whenever he finished a piece, instead of signing his name at the bottom, he would sign, "God be thanked." When Dvorak was older, he got married and he had several kids, and his family was the love of his life. He often thought that he did his best work while he was sitting at the kitchen table with his children running about while his wife was cooking dinner, while they were all making noise. And he said that so many of his pieces that he wrote with kids trying to sneak up on him or hide behind the desk and pop out and scare him. While Dvorak was alive, he was very famous. His pieces that he wrote did very well. And even though he became famous and he started making more money, that never changed who he was. He still loved God first and foremost, and he loved his family and he loved people and valued those relationships more than money. When Dvorak was 51 years old, he was invited to take a position and become the director of the National Conservatory of Music in New York City. Most of the famous composers came from Europe. And so while music was being written in the United States, music kind of just sounded like European music. There wasn't really anything different that set it apart. So his job in the National Conservatory was to help young American composers find their own voice. When Dvorak was the director at this National Conservatory, he hired a man who was a musician, he was a singer, to be his assistant. This man was named Harry Burleigh. So Harry Burleigh was African American, and he loved to sing, and so it was very often that he would sing spirituals to Dvorak. He loved these melodies. He thought they were so beautiful and unlike anything he had ever heard before. Dvorak was so interested in getting to know people. So as he traveled through Northern America, he would listen to the songs. He would listen to the African American spirituals. He would visit Native American tribes and listen to the kind of music and rituals they would perform. And he was just so blown away by this music that he had never heard before. He loved to be outside. He loved to soak in nature and see all these things around him, but he also loved music. And so he married these two together in his Ninth Symphony, which he titled From a New World. In the second movement of his symphony comes that beautiful theme that you heard me play on the violin earlier. Actually, this theme that I just played, many people think that it was a spiritual that Dvorak quoted in his piece, but actually it's the opposite. So when Dvorak died, one of his students from the conservatory in New York took this theme that he wrote and applied words to it. So now you see it in our hymnals titled Goin' Home, and it talks about anticipating how exciting it will be and how rewarding it will be to finally go home to heaven to be with Jesus. So Dvorak's symphony, like all other symphonies, have 4 movements in them. So each movement is distinctly different from another, but one thing that combines them all together is this love of American music. So you'll hear many different things quoted as you listen to the whole work. I'm going to put a link in the description where you can listen to the entirety of his Ninth Symphony. So that theme that I'm playing is the main theme from the second movement, if you want to listen to that. but I also encourage you to listen to the entire fourth movement because it is a blast. It is so much fun to listen to. So I hope that you will take time to listen to that symphony today, maybe while you're playing with your brothers and sisters or while you're eating dinner, but I hope that you'll listen to it. Here's my assignment for you today. I have written out that main melody in really easy music. So if you play any kind of instrument, if you play violin or piano, or even if you play ukulele, I've given you the chords for it too. I want you to make a recording of yourself playing this melody. Now, if you don't play an instrument, and even if you do play an instrument, here's your next level challenge. Your next challenge is to write words to this melody. The words can be very serious if you like them to be, or they can be something funny about how you're stuck at home instead of going home. I can't wait to hear you play this really special song, and I can't wait to hear some of the really creative words that you write for it. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video about Dvorak's New World Symphony.